What if I told you there's a man in the Quran who asked Allah for something, and Allah gave it to him, and then Allah said out loud that he would never give that same thing to anyone else, ever, not to any other prophet, not to any other king, not to any human alive today? What was it? And more importantly, why does it matter to you? Stay with me, because the answer changes how you think about what you can ask from Allah. His name is Sulaiman. Peace be upon him. He was the son of the Prophet Dawood, peace be upon him, and he inherited more than just his father's throne. He inherited prophethood, he inherited wisdom, and he inherited a relationship with Allah so intimate that when he made a dua, the entire universe shifted to answer it. History books measure greatness in armies, gold, and land. But Allah measures it differently. And by Allah's measure, no human empire in history came close to what Sulaiman was given. Not Rome, not Persia, not any civilization that ever walked this earth. The Quran tells us exactly what he had. Let's go through it. One day, Sulaiman turned to Allah and made a prayer. It is recorded in Surah Sad, verse 35. Listen to how he asked.
قال رب اغفر لي وهب لي ملكا لا ينبغي لأحد من بعدي إنك أنت الوهاب.
My Lord, forgive me, and grant me an authority that will never be matched by anyone after me. You are indeed the giver of all bounties. Read that again. He did not just ask for wealth. He did not ask for victory over one enemy. He asked for something that no human, before him or after him, would ever receive. And Allah gave it to him. That is the thing about Sulaiman's story. It is not a story of ambition. It is a story of dua. A prophet who understood that the limits of what you can ask Allah have nothing to do with what human civilization considers possible. He asked for the impossible, and Allah said yes. Now let us talk about what Allah gave him, because this is where the story becomes almost impossible to process. First, the wind. Surah Saba, verse 12.
ولسليمان الريح غدوها شهر ورواحها شهر وأسلنا له عين القطر ومن الجن من يعمل بين يديه بإذن ربه ومن يزغ منهم عن أمرنا نذقه من عذاب السعير.
And to Solomon we subjected the wind. Its morning stride was a month's journey, and so was its evening stride. Think about what that means. In one morning, Sulaiman's kingdom could cross what would have taken any other civilization an entire month to travel. He commanded the wind itself, not with machines, not with technology, by the permission of Allah. But that was not all. Allah also melted copper and caused it to flow for him like a river, a stream of molten copper available for construction and industry, flowing at his command. Then there were the jinn, an army, not just humans, not just birds, jinn, working under him, building for him, serving him, day and night. Surah An-Naml, verse 16. Sulaiman himself described what he had been given.
وورث سليمان داود وقال يا أيها الناس علمنا منطق الطير وأوتينا من كل شيء إن هذا لهو الفضل المبين وحشر لسليمان جنوده من الجن والإنس والطير فهم يوزعون.
O people, we have been taught the language of birds and been given everything we need. This is indeed a great privilege. And then the Quran shows us what this army looked like. Solomon's forces of jinn, humans, and birds were rallied for him, perfectly organized. Think about that sentence. His forces included jinn, creatures from a world parallel to our own. He commanded them as a general command soldiers. And what did they build for him? The next verse of Surah Saba, tells us. The jinn built for him whatever he desired. Sanctuaries, statues, basins as large as reservoirs, cooking pots fixed into the ground. The scale of his kingdom was beyond anything human architects could produce. No wonder no empire before or since has matched it. Now here is where the story teaches us something important. Because you might expect a man with all this power to become arrogant, to forget Allah, to start thinking the kingdom belonged to him. But that is not what happened. After listing all that Sulaiman was given, Allah ends verse 13 of Surah Saba with a command, not to Sulaiman alone, to the entire family of Dawud. Work gratefully, O family of David. Only a few of my servants are truly grateful. That line, that final sentence, Allah is saying something profound here. He gave Sulaiman everything, and then he watched to see what Sulaiman would do with it. And Sulaiman's response was gratitude. Not pride, not a sense of deserving it, not arrogance. He understood that the kingdom was a gift, not an achievement. And this is the hardest lesson in the story. When you're given rizq, when Allah opens a door for you, when your business grows, when your wealth increases, the test is not whether you can get more. The test is whether you remember who gave it. A few of my servants are truly grateful. Allah is still saying that today. About us. There is one more thing about Sulaiman's story that most people overlook. His death. It is described in Surah Saba, verse 14. When we decreed Solomon's death, nothing indicated to the subjected jinn that he was dead except the termites eating away his staff. So when he collapsed, the jinn realized that if they had really known the unseen, they would not have remained in such humiliating servitude. Sulaiman died standing, leaning on his staff, and for a period of time, the jinn continued working, not knowing their master was gone. Only when a termite ate through the wood and the staff broke did the kingdom realize what had happened. The most powerful king who ever lived. The man who commanded jinn, wind, copper, and armies of birds. And in the end, a small creature of the earth revealed that he was gone. There is something deeply human about this. Something that reaches across thousands of years and lands in your chest. Power does not last forever. No kingdom does. Not Sulaiman's. Not any empire since. But what lasts is the account before Allah. What you built. What you gave. Whether you were grateful. You are never going to have Sulaiman's kingdom. Neither am I. But this story was not put in the Quran so we could marvel at something beyond us and then move on. It was put there so we could understand something about Allah. He gave one man everything. Wind, jinn, copper, the speech of birds, an authority no human will ever have again. Which means Allah is not stingy. Allah is not withholding from you because he cannot give. He withholds, or he gives based on wisdom we do not always see. And Sulaiman taught us something else. It is not wrong to ask for more. He asked, directly, boldly, for a kingdom that no one would ever match. And Allah honored that request. So ask. Ask for your business to grow. Ask for your rizq to expand. Ask for doors to open that your mind cannot even picture. The question is not whether Allah can give it. The question is, if he gave it to you, what would you do with it? Would you remember who gave it to you? Or would you become the one who forgot? Sulaiman remembered. That is why his story is still being told today, thousands of years later, in the words of Allah himself.